You know what, Sam?
What?
You got one on the road. It's hard to ask for more.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, Sam, that was a very, very frustrating game. Very frustrating. And we'll get to it, but Sam, uh, you know what? We have two home games coming up here. And what's a great way to get people in those seats, Sam?
Yep, if you want to come see Carolina play at home at Lenovo Center, use promo code Keeniac Report. Get $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. So if you want to go and get yourself $20 off first purchase at SeatGeek and watch Carolina take on the dirtiest team in the National Hockey League, the Washington Capitals.
Oh, it's gonna be a fun episode. We also have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate, there is a link to that in both our YouTube and wherever you get your podcast descriptions. And remember, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And also, if you're listening to us like on Apple or Spotify, whatever, please be sure to leave a rating and a review. We really do appreciate it when you do. Sam, I'm kind of happy. This is one of those episodes where I'm a little bit happy that we have different segments for our episodes. It kind of gives us to take the Hurricanes off our mind for a little bit, especially after a loss like this. So, Sam, let's talk about one piece of information that came out, and that is the Anaheim Ducks made news as they have named Joel Quenneville as their head coach.
Yeah, that was going to happen eventually. He was going to get another coaching job. The league felt that there was a second chance earned and allowed him to interview and be hired. And he's a good coach. Uh, we don't, there's nothing else to say more about the incident in Chicago, but Joe Quenneville has a proven record as an NHL coach, Stanley Cup championship. Uh, People aren't going to like it. I'm not saying I do like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't care, but it's the problem is I think in Anaheim where you might get some problems quickly is I don't know how the young players are going to take this.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know either.
you went from a coach that I think a lot of players weren't overly fond of in Anaheim to another coach that you might have the same problem with. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. I mean, I think they have. I mean, I'm sure you agree with this. Anaheim has a good young core of players. They have Cutter Gauthier. They have Leo Carlson. Just to name a couple, you have Troy Terry. He's doing really good. So this is a decent Anaheim team. You can obviously tell that they're out of that rebuilding type of stage. They want to get back into the playoffs. So I don't know if Joe Quenneville's going to do it. I mean, my whole take. I mean, I know there's going to be controversy, and I think if you do hire a coach that you know is going to bring controversy, then I think you have to prepare for that as an organization. To be
Yeah,
honest.
and you putting your career on the line if you're Pat Verbeek. Like if the
Yes, you kind of are.
players don't buy in at all. You chose to go get him. Now, is he a good coach? Yeah. I mean, Mike Babcock was a good coach, and that didn't end very well. So, I mean, it's just a we'll see. I mean, we'll see if he actually coaches some games or
Yeah,
if
and the
something else
NHL,
happens.
and I mean, it was out there. I believe it was reported by I can't remember one of the insiders, LeBron or it might have been Frank Saravelli. I can't remember who that said that Anaheim actually did an extensive research into Joel Quenneville before he got hired to be sure that what he did with Chicago and all that he actually they made sure that he actually showed that he was trying to uh, n- not go into a behavior of repeating those mistakes back in Chicago. So
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea too. I think, to be honest, you might agree with me on this or not, but I mean, people say that there are certain people that don't deserve second chances, and people that do, and I think there are faults on both sides. To be honest,
Yeah, I mean, it's
I, I do. I think both sides of the spectrum.
again, it's not my team, it's not my problem. Is kind of how I look at it.
I know.
Um, I think you can't. I think if you argue that he's not a good coach, I think you don't have a lot of evidence to back that up. I think he's been an excellent coach his entire career, and he made a mistake. Uh,
And winning is a business, for the record. It just
yeah,
is.
it is a business, and at the end of the day, you have to decide as an organization and as a fan if you believe whatever mistake that Quenville made, whether that's forgivable or not. And obviously, for certain people, it won't be, and for certain other people, it will be forgivable. Um, he didn't break the law or anything like that, and it's point just we'll see how he does in Anaheim. I think there's question marks there, but I think he's a good coach. It's just whether you get the buy-in, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes. Sam, another thing too, let's just go ahead and give some quick notes on the other series because there's only 3 series. Uh, just some quick thoughts on the other series. So, Sam, Toronto, Florida series. Toronto's up 2-0 in the games department over Florida. And Sam, Toronto, they're looking pretty good. Now, both games were at home, so we'll
Yeah,
see what Florida does at home. But Toronto's looking pretty good. I I just wonder how much of Toronto winning is due to the fact that Florida's been playing a lot of hockey. That's my question.
well, I mean, we'll just. I think Brad Marchand kind of said that all that this is a different Leafs team, and I think that's saying something.
Yeah,
So we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, it is saying something. This Toronto team looks like they are on a mission. They want to go all the way with the
Yep.
core four, and we'll see how that series does. I
Yep.
mean, Toronto's been playing good, but Florida, they haven't played at home yet, so we'll see. Sam, let's go out to the West. Only 2 series to cover there. Winnipeg and Dallas. Dallas won the one and only game so far, and Sam, I don't like this. I honestly just don't because I mean we've said it before we don't like the player, but Mikko Rantanen has been hot for Dallas.
Yep. I have nothing nice to say. So if you want to move on, you can.
Well, what about other facets to that series?
I mean, I think Dallas is going to win. It's gonna be
You think?
close. Like I said, it's gonna be an entirely up to Connor Hellebuck whether they win or not. And he wasn't good enough again. So
No, he was not. So Winnipeg, when it comes to Connor Hellebuck, I mean there are games where he's really good. There are games where he's not in the playoffs. So see how that series goes.
yep.
And then the Vegas and Edmonton series. Sam, what do you think about that series?
I was shocked waking up the next day and seeing Vegas had lost after taking 2-0 lead. So that's going to probably be a long series too. It's probably going to go 7.
I think it goes to 7-2. I mean, I honestly hope the Washington Carolina series doesn't go to 7. But looking at all these series, Sam, I think the series that most likely goes to 7 is probably that series, the Vegas
Yeah.
Edmonton series.
Yeah, it is because it's just two teams that are very good. Stanley Cup champion team in Vegas a few years back, and you have or a couple years back now actually, and then you have a Stanley Cup final appearance team in Edmonton, and yeah, I can see that game going 7. I could see Toronto if they can get one in Florida, they could win in 5. That wouldn't shock me at all if they can close it
No, it
out.
wouldn't.
And then Carolina, they got one in Washington. They could win. I mean, they could win and what would it be? 5. So I mean, they can win in 5 if they win both at home and come back to Washington. So Carolina was the best home team in the NHL, I believe, is what they said on the broadcast. So I
Yeah.
mean, we'll just see. There's of all the series, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think the one that has the most likely chance of going 7 is is that one, because I've watched a little bit of the Toronto series and I think Toronto just been the better team. I Winnipeg, the problem there is I watched more of the first round series and watched them play. The problem is they really ride Connor Hellebuck hard. If he's not playing well, the team in front of him doesn't play well. Carolina, I think, was still the better team tonight overall against the Caps. You lost because you got a couple of bad breaks, but you beat Washington at home in game 1. We're the better team there, and you're coming home to Carolina. So I think of all of the series, like you said, and I think you agree, the Vegas Edmonton one where you have 2 teams, Stanley Cup caliber teams, just because Edmonton won in Vegas doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's going to be interesting. Vegas was up at one point, which is why you were
Yep.
surprised and I was surprised too. But Edmonton came strolling in. I mean, Edmonton, they're just a team you can never count out just because of the lethal offense they have with McDavid and Draisaitl. But Vegas, I mean, I think they have the better goalie, so I think they can shut down a game more than Edmonton can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Edmonton, it's kind for them to win, they have to kind of outscore their problems. So we'll see how that series goes, Sam. And now let's talk about the Hurricanes heading into game 2 here. Obviously, uh, one thing that did happen, Sam, Mark Jankowski, he was a game time decision heading in, but ultimately Bryn Moore put Jack Roslovic in and Jankowski out. And I think if we're to judge Roslovic's performance, I actually thought he did pretty good
Yeah,
in
I thought he
game
had a
2.
couple of chances. I have nothing bad to say about Roslovic. My problem tonight was more with the play of Orlov, Gostisbehere. Yes, he scored. I didn't think he had a good night, and Burns. I thought the defense was the problem tonight. Honestly, I didn't like their play. I thought Walker was our best defenseman. Him and Slavin were probably the 2 best defensemen tonight.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, if you need offense, I don't know why Jarvis on the stall line makes sense. It doesn't work. It's never worked. Ever, 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 ever. It's not how you score goals. Jarvis has scored what? I think you said 4 goals this past year when he
Yeah.
played with that
4
line.
goals.
So I don't understand why having him on that line as smart. I know Rod's trying to spread the offense out. Well, guess what? You need to go top heavy against the Caps. You just do. And you're trying to use that line as a shutdown line. You're trying to make sure that Ovechkin, Strome, and I forgot the other guy on that line don't score.
Bavillier is the
Bavalia, you
other
need to make sure
player.
that line doesn't score. You're not trying to score. You're trying to keep them out of your zone. You grind the puck, you circle the puck, and you do what you can. But I'm sorry, Jarvis plays great with Aho.
Yeah, he
And so,
does.
and I think Blake's getting big man on that line. I was watching him tonight, and he was getting bumped all over around.
He was.
I don't think he's ready for this. So maybe you bump him down to the second line or the third scoring line, but not that I don't think he's skilled. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's not big enough to play on that line at this age, at this stage of the game against this Washington Capitals team. Maybe if you're playing Edmonton, that's different. They're not big either, but it's just, if you're playing Toronto, I'd say the same thing. You're not looking at Toronto and going, "Oh, they're going to bully you." It's that you're playing against a team that's bigger in general than you are. And Blake is a smaller guy. Stankoven's a smaller guy. Jarvis is a smaller guy. But Jarvis has been in the league a little bit longer. He's bulked up a little bit more. So, yeah, I swapped Jarvis and Blake. I just think you got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the line changes, I do think that definitely needs to be considered. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head when it came to the defenseman. I mean, Burns, Ghost. I mean, it was frustrating. Now, I mean, heading into game 2, though, I mean, just think about it. before game two started, if we thought the Hurricanes were going to win game two, Sam, I think this series you could see a sweep happening with the Hurricanes if the Hurricanes had won game two, because we know how good they are at home. And with 2 games out of the way in Washington, Canes now come home. So
Yeah. Well, if you
that's
win
a
both
big
games at
thing.
home, you go up 3-1.
Yes. And I'm not going to say that it's a guarantee of winning these home games. I mean, these are playoff games. You just never know what's going to happen. But all I can go off of is how well the Hurricanes have played at home. And because of that, I mean, I do think they can beat Washington at home
Yeah.
in
Yep.
these two games upcoming. And Sam, you know what? Let's go ahead get to a sponsor, and then we'll recap game two. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high skates drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Okay, Sam. So we talked about the players right before our sponsor here of the players that kind of struggled in this game. Now, I think when we look more big picture, I mean, if you look at the offense, like honestly, to me, what was frustrating, and I think you agree with this because, I mean, I even heard you said we played amazing in that first period, and we did,
Yeah.
but we
Like I,
couldn't get anything out of it.
I think I think if you average the whole game, I think Carolina was the better team. I think you gave up a power play goal. That was going to happen eventually.
It was.
That was the second goal. I don't know how I felt about the call. I think Washington got more benefit of the doubt tonight on calls than Carolina did. Uh, there were a lot of blatant things Washington just did not get called. Specifically, Tom Wilson grabbing Svechnikov by the neck and twisting him
That
down. That's
should,
a
yeah,
penalty.
I agree. That should have been a penalty.
When you have a dirty player like Wilson, who's known as a dirty player, who is a garbage human being, you need to call that. And you can't let him get away with that, or else he's going to end up running your goalie because
It's
it's
like
also
not,
open season on goalies.
yeah, and and I would say that follows the logic of not calling a penalty on a guy like Svetch,
Yeah,
because Svetch known for has been known for taking penalties, and he makes a penalty and they don't call it. So
it's just a bizarre thing. I don't understand the love affair that the league has with Tom Wilson. He's just a low life in this dirt bag. Try not to use any 4-letter words right now, Sam, and I think I'm doing a good job. But
so far,
it's just a Carolina was the better team, and Washington, both games. It was a little closer in game 2, but now you get to come home. You get to dictate matchups. You get the hometown behind you. This is when you're going to dominate this Capitals team,
yeah,
and
and that go ahead.
you need to come home and make a statement. You have
Yes,
to. You scored just two. You scored 3 goals in 2 games. Not enough offense. You scored more, you win both. You need to come back because Carolina's offense can dry up in the playoffs. Freddie's been very good. Um, I don't, in my mind, I can't think of, oh my goodness, Freddie shouldn't have allowed that goal kind of thought in my mind at the moment. I mean, on the breakaway, you're free to make a save, but I don't blame a goalie on a
I
breakaway
was
goal.
I was about to mention the McMichael goal. That was just so unfortunate. It was,
Yeah.
like literally, I can't blame any player unless it was maybe was it Walker that kind of I think it was Walker that hit the puck into Ghost's face that made him kind of. I mean, while Ghost he got hit in the face, and watching player in McMichael was going right up and got the breakaway. It was just unfortunate. You can't really blame a player who got hit in the face with the puck, you know?
No, that's just whatever. There, I still don't think Goss Despair had a great game tonight. He
But he
scored the
did get a
goal.
goal.
He got the goal. He got the goal, and then I'll give him that. But again, I think one Burns has played a lot, and
He's turned the puck over a lot. And I would say a lot of Hurricane players turned the puck over. Oh, it was, especially in that second period. That second period was probably the worst period, one of the worst periods I've seen this playoffs.
but I'll also say this: Carolina had a bad period and was still right in this game all night. They were right in this game till the empty net goal. So this is a team that has been in every game, was in this one, um, beat the Caps, and they're a barn. So what does Carolina have to do? You just have to win at home.
Yes,
Win at
you do.
home, you win the series. That's literally the situation right now. Win at home,
Yeah,
you win the series.
and I think this is one of those games where if you look at the bigger picture, especially with us winning in game one, it makes you as a Hurricanes fan probably feel a little bit relieved
Yeah,
because the big thing is you got home ice advantage. You just can't lose at home. Now, there is pressure on the Hurricanes, granted, because if you don't win at home ice goes back to Washington. But regardless, I really think this team can win, especially when you have that last change there. That's really key. And Sam, what's interesting is we did see a change in lines.
yep,
I believe it was in the third period. You had KK being demoted again.
yep.
I'm pretty vocal when it comes to KK gets demoted because if Brindamore does not trust KK, I'm telling you, I know this is an off-season thing. If Brindamore just doesn't trust him, I think you got either trade him or buy him out. But um,
Well, yeah.
Wallace
If you're not going to have him play on your second line, which is what you have him there for, then I don't see the point.
Yeah, I really don't. But you had Roslovic, Hall, and Stankoven, and I I mean it was just really frustrating. I think, to be honest, the sum of this team's offense of getting good chances was that one chance where we had a 3-on-1 in that third period. Sam Hall had the puck. He passes it right to the stick of the Capitals defenseman. And I was like, yep, that sums up pretty much the Hurricanes offense. You're
Yeah.
so close to getting that chance, but you don't get it.
Well, they also didn't shoot when they needed to shoot, and they seemed so opposed to the one-timer opportunities. They passed up a lot of those, and notice the one time they shot, they scored.
Yes.
So don't be afraid to let it go on the one-timing opportunity. The greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL, guess how he got a lot of those goals? That. The guy on the other side did that. So when you do that, put Svetch in the one-timing spot and get it to him. That's what you need to
Yep.
do on the power play. And then you can't be making these fancy
Or
tackles all the
Stankoven.
time.
I think Stankoven has a good shot.
Sure.
I mean,
Just don't
listen,
put
I
him in
thought
front of the net. He's too small.
Yeah, I think Stankoven is amazing. I actually thought he was one of the players that played really good this game. But yeah, I don't like putting a very small player in front of a goalie in Thompson, who I believe is like 6'3", 6'4". He's a pretty tall goalie, I believe. So I don't think that's a huge chance of success there. But Another thing too, Sam, special teams. That was a part, I think, of how Carolina lost. Now, granted, this penalty kill is not going to be perfect. You let a power
No.
play goal in, but to me, what's more concerning isn't that penalty kill; it's the power play right now
No.
against Washington,
Well, yeah,
and
but I'll also say
it's
this. I
all
think,
passing around the perimeter. They're not getting in those juicy areas.
yeah,
Wouldn't
I
you
mean,
agree?
yeah, we still scored on the power play, so at the same time, it's hard to complain about the power play. But overall, yeah, it didn't look all that good tonight, and I think they got a lucky bounce on the goal they scored.
They did.
But you earned your bounce, and I think right now I would argue we're tied in special teams, and if you tie Washington with special teams, I think you still win the series. Right? You don't want to go
I do too.
negative, so as long as you're tied, I think you're good. Um, that doesn't mean that we score more power play goals than they do. That means we don't allow them as many power play goals, right? If they we limit their power play chances and we kill off what we take. And if you do that, you're fine. If you give up one here or there, it's not the end of the world, right? But you also got to make good on your own chances. So again, you stay tied or win special teams. I think the Hurricanes win the series. If you start to march to the penalty box and they start scoring power play goals, it's going to end up a lot like the Rangers series has in the past when we played them.
Yes, exactly. And another thing too, I think this was kind of a little bit of part of why the Canes lost the physicality because Washington was able to use their big guys. I mean, you just mentioned earlier in this episode that Blake was getting knocked down or
Well, he's
getting
getting
knocked
big.
away from the puck.
He's a kid, and
I thought we
again,
saw even though I love St. Coven, there have been times where St. Coven got knocked off.
yep. And look, it's again, this is nothing against Stankoven or Blake. It's that they're young rookies, they're young players, and they're small.
And there's yeah, I was about to say that.
But Jarvis is small, and I've seen
Hmm.
him go in there and shove the body around and get into the tough places and not get bodied off the puck. It comes with getting bigger and getting older and playing the game longer. So eventually, yeah, Blake's going to be fine in those situations. I just right now, this is again, I'm not criticizing his play. I'm saying I don't think he's physically capable of playing in this role in this moment against this team. It worked with New Jersey because I don't think New Jersey just wasn't that kind of team,
No, they weren't.
but Washington is. So, yeah, I mean, I think you need to have.
Now we
I think
did show some fight. I mean, you see
sure.
the stall hit on
Yep.
Wilson.
Yeah.
I could watch that 10 times a day, to be honest. Loved how Stahl used his
Yeah.
body there on Wilson.
I thought Stahl played okay tonight too. Again, I think that line was good. I question again coaching in the playoffs. I think has been a concern to last year and this year. It's like it's 240 something left, and you got Stahl line out. Like, what are you doing? Stahl line should not be out in the last 3 minutes of the game when you're trying to score a goal. You got three lines who can score. One of those three lines should be out on the ice. Should not be Stahl. And I don't want to see Jarvis on that line either when you're trying to score a goal.
Yeah,
So right,
and
you need the top heavy. He needs to be the extra attacker, or he needs to be on that line squarely. Right? I mean, that's just a reality of the situation that you're trying to get a tying goal. It doesn't make sense going down the stretch to put Jordan Stahl out on that line. It doesn't make sense at all. You're trying to score, fine. Stahl shouldn't be out on the ice unless you're going to have just Stahl out there to take a face off and then stick his butt in front of the net.
which
So
wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because he's actually
no,
a
that's
big
fine.
dude.
That's fine, but that line doesn't score. And I think that was a coaching mistake again. Like last year, Rod made one. It cost us a series. I don't think this one does. But
No, I don't think it does either.
this one was a mistake. Again, Stahl should not be out there when you're trying to tie the game with about 2.5 minutes left, which is where he was at. And it's like, what are you doing? That line shouldn't be out there. We're trying to score. It is what it is. I thought Burns was particularly bad tonight. He did get a block shot at the end, but the puck still goes in the empty net, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't like Orlov's game. I didn't really like Gostisbehere's game. Like I said, but Chatfield I thought he
There
was
were
fine.
moments. There was moments with Chatfield where he was good, and then there was moments where he was bad. I thought.
I can't particularly think of anything where I thought Slavin was icky or Walker was icky. I thought those were the two best defensemen. Like you go Slavin, Walker, or Walker, Slavin, Chatfield were the top
I was
three.
about to say, I think Walker had the edge of the best defenseman tonight
Yeah,
over Slavin, and I'm a Slavin fan, but I thought Walker was the best
yeah.
defenseman.
And maybe I'll feel differently about this game tomorrow. I just hate losing to Washington.
Oh, I do too. But you know what? The biggest thing, we gotta win on the road. We come home, and Sam, I know you mentioned maybe juggling the lines a bit.
Yeah, yeah,
I agree. And again, a team that likes stats. And the Hurricanes, remember, Jarvis only 4 goals in the regular season when playing with
yep,
Martinook and
yep,
Stahl.
yep.
So I
And
would keep
Adam,
that in
and this
mind.
is also something Adam says. Rod determines success by by the amount of allowed goals versus goals scored. I guess that's not how you win hockey games. By the way,
No,
you
and
don't win that.
especially if a team like Toronto wins the Stanley Cup, then that kind of goes in favor of, well, you need goals.
Well, also take a look at Colorado won the Stanley Cup. They outscored their problems.
I would
And
say sort of, but sort of not really, just because I mean you have a guy in Cale Makar who's the best defenseman
I'm
in
not.
the
I
NHL,
am not saying
and you have
anything
Devon
bad.
Taves.
I'm not saying anything about that. I'm more arguing at the time Kemper. I don't think was that great of a goalie for him. The point is you're in a position. If Toronto wins the series and you cannot get past Washington, you're gonna look at a missed opportunity to get to the Stanley Cup Finals because I think Toronto is beatable.
I mean, I do too, but again, I said this coming into even the regular season. I think Carolina's a second round team. That's just how I saw it. But so far, I think they have exceeded somewhat of my expectations.
Yeah, and let's be honest, they should win this series. You won a game on the road. Now do what you do best. Win at home.
Yes.
Carolina is undefeated at home against the Capitals in the playoffs. They're 3
Which
and 0.
what line would you throw out there against? Because I know Ovechkin and Wilson are on separate lines.
Yeah.
Which line would you go up against Ovechkin, and which line would you
Aho.
throw
I
against
put the
Wilson?
Aho line. I'd put the Aho line out against Ovechkin, so I'd swap it. I'd have Stahl out against Wilson and Aho out against Ovechkin. I think Ovechkin's older and slower, and I think that's a line that our top guys should be playing against. Best on
Yeah,
best. That's how you know. That's how you know that's where it is. And you got a Strome. He's a young guy. I think you can take advantage of some inexperience there. Bavillier's whatever. I don't really view him as some kind of elite talent. Ovechkin again, older. He's a guy you can skate and you can walk. Uh, that Wilson line is their best line, and that's the line that Stahl. And what I would do next game at home is it should be Stahl, Martinook, and Carrier at
I
home.
was about to say that. I think they should do that too. I
I don't.
really,
I
really do.
I don't need that line to score. I need that line to keep Tom Wilson out of the offensive zone. That's their job.
And keep Tom Wilson in check, and that's why
Yes.
we put Carrier on
Yes.
that line.
Yep. And Stahl, because Stahl's bodied him too.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Aho going up against the Ovechkin line, and then you have what? I mean, do you keep Roslovic in for the next game? I think you probably do,
Yeah, I
even
thought he
if
played good.
Yankowski's healthy.
Uh,
I don't know.
if Yankowski's healthy, I put Yankowski in.
You put Jankowski, just because he's bigger.
He's bigger, and
Yeah,
you won with him in and lost with him out. So yeah,
yeah. So Jankowski come in with probably what Robinson and ooh,
Blake.
Robinson and Blake. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see Blake, and then do
Eh,
Stankoven, KK, and Hall.
um. Actually, no.
Maybe.
I do Blake, KK, and Hall, Stankoven, Yankowski, and Robinson.
Okay, so you would kind of keep that line the same like it was in game one.
Yeah, I don't want. I would rather have Blake on that second line. I still think Blake's a better player than Stankoven is.
Well,
Um,
Stankoven's gotten 3 goals, so
no, he has, but I have no problem sticking him if he's going to keep playing like that on a line where maybe he can take advantage of mismatches.
yeah, he
So,
definitely could.
because I view if you do Yankowski, Robinson, and Stankoven, I think that gives you a third scoring line.
Yeah,
And I think they could go out against the Caps' third and fourth lines and make them pay, and that's what I want to see.
yeah. Well, Sam, let's bring the noise in Game 3 against the Capitals here at home, because the next 2 games are here at home. If you win those 2 games, then your chances of winning this series goes up significantly. So we will see you guys after game number 3.